How can SpaceX solve what NASA couldn't? Building a real moon base fast enough to beat China. While NASA struggles with red tape and slow progress, Elon Musk has a radical plan. Turn Starship itself into the base. No modules, no waiting, just land, convert, and live. Could this be the genius move that changes humanity's future on the moon? Let's dive right in. Inside NASA, progress doesn't just depend on engineering. It depends on signatures, committees, and politics. Each Artemis component is handled by a different contractor. Boeing builds the rocket. Lockheed Martin handles the spacecraft. Northrop Grumman works on the boosters. On paper, this seems like teamwork. In reality, it's a maze of separate timelines, priorities, and profit structures. And because most contracts are cost-plus, delays don't hurt the companies, they pay more. That's why the Space Launch System, SLS, once hailed as the world's most powerful rocket, has eaten up over $23 billion and flown just once. NASA's own reports show that every upgrade adds hundreds of millions more. For instance, the exploration upper stage, the part meant to boost Artemis 4, costs $700 million per unit. By comparison, ULA's Centaur V does a similar job for under $120 million. As one NASA insider told Ars Technica, "We're building rockets like it's 1985, but funding them like it's 2050. And this is where Elon Musk saw an opening and a philosophy that could flip the entire system. While NASA builds one rocket for every purpose, Musk wants one rocket for every purpose. Instead of layers of contractors, he believes in a single integrated system. Faster, cheaper, reusable, and scalable. That rocket is Starship. Capable of carrying over 200 metric tons to orbit, Starship is designed to make old rockets obsolete. It can lift more than the Saturn V that carried Apollo, but at a fraction of the cost. It's entirely reusable, built to launch, land, refuel, and launch again. But Musk's real innovation isn't the rocket itself. It's what happens after it lands. Because in his plan, Starship doesn't just visit the moon, it becomes the base itself. Here's the twist that shocked NASA engineers. SpaceX doesn't plan to send modular habitats to the moon. It plans to land them. Each Starship would touch down, unload cargo, then transform into a permanent structure. The ship's stainless steel body becomes the walls. Its tanks and compartments become living spaces, labs and storage rooms. In short, the rocket becomes the house. Engineers call this concept Moonbase Alpha. Once landed, the ship could slowly tilt 90 degrees into a horizontal position, forming a spacious, open-deck interior. Robots and automated systems would install prefabricated floors, insulation, and internal structures already packed on board. The design is both simple and brilliant. Instead of sending fragile modules and building a base piece by piece, SpaceX sends the entire base in one launch. It lands, refits itself, and becomes operational within weeks. Each Starship could host 6 to 12 crew members for long-term stays, with closed-loop life support for air and water. 5 massive 18-meter solar arrays would form a hexagonal grid around the site, providing constant power even during lunar night cycles. To protect against radiation and micrometeoroids, SpaceX plans to cover the ship with 5 meters of lunar regolith, turning it into a steel and dust fortress, nature's own armor. This is how Elon Musk believes we can build humanity's first permanent home beyond Earth. Not by assembling modules, but by reusing what's already there. To some inside NASA, the idea sounded too radical. Where's the construction crew? The prefabricated habitats? The assembly arms? Musk's answer was simple. You don't need them. Instead of building a base, SpaceX would land it fully formed. Every new Starship that lands adds another habitat. 2 link together, 4 create a network, a dozen form a colony. Each ship carries its own supplies, power systems, and life support. Compare that to Artemis Base Camp, a government-style architecture with pre-built modules, robotic assembly, and multiple launch dependencies. Every element must arrive separately, get tested, then connected manually. It's slower, riskier, and far more expensive. Even some NASA engineers now privately admit If Starship works, our entire plan becomes outdated. That realization explains the growing tension between NASA's leadership and Musk. Acting Administrator Sean Duffy recently warned that SpaceX's delays could jeopardize the Artemis timeline. But Musk fired back, saying bureaucracy, not engineering, is the real threat. And deep down, everyone knows he's not wrong. The moon isn't just a destination. It's a launch pad for the solar system. Its gravity is 1/6 of Earth's, which means launching from there requires far less energy. Water ice trapped in its polar craters can be split into hydrogen and oxygen, natural rocket fuel. That means future spacecraft could refuel on the moon instead of relying on expensive Earth launches. Once that infrastructure exists, humanity can begin large-scale operations, mining lunar resources, producing fuel for Mars missions, building manufacturing hubs for space industry. It's not science fiction, it's strategy. And whoever builds the first permanent base will shape the future of human expansion in space. That's why this race is more than national pride. It's about control of the next frontier, logistics, resources, and influence. China already has a timeline. Their joint program with Russia plans to complete a functioning base before 2035. NASA's timeline, even under best conditions, stretches well beyond that. Unless SpaceX's Starship can accelerate America's progress, the United States could soon find itself renting access to lunar territory where it's not leading it. But SpaceX's biggest enemy isn't gravity, it's politics. Every time SpaceX proposes a faster, cheaper solution, someone's funding shrinks. Every time Musk succeeds, another traditional contractor loses relevance. That's why even as NASA depends on SpaceX, some insiders quietly hope it fails. Not because of safety, but because of money. The space industry has been built on guaranteed profits for decades. Change threatens that entire ecosystem. And Musk is, by design, a disruptor. He's not waiting for permission, he's building results. And history shows his model works. The same iterative process that made Falcon 9 the world's most reliable rocket is now being applied to Starship. Only this time, the stakes are planetary. It's the difference between bureaucracy and momentum, between protecting jobs and creating the future. For Musk, the moon is not the finish line, it's the training ground. Every system tested there, power, life support, resource extraction, will be reused on Mars. The lunar environment offers a chance to fail fast, fix faster, and perfect the technology before taking the next giant leap. Once Starship proves it can sustain human life on the moon, scaling that system to Mars becomes not only possible, but inevitable. That's why Musk calls the moon the proving ground of civilization. And whether the world likes it or not, it's working. Each Starship test, each iteration, each flight brings the one rocket dream closer to reality. And with it, a future where humanity no longer depends on one planet to survive. Even inside NASA, something is changing. You can feel it in the tone of official statements, the quiet deference when SpaceX hits another milestone. They know the truth. SpaceX isn't just a contractor anymore. It's the engine of progress itself. NASA's strength has always been discovery. SpaceX's strength is execution. And if both sides can align, if government structure meets private speed, the dream of a moon base could become reality far sooner than anyone expects. Because while others debate policies and budgets, Elon Musk is already sketching floor plans for humanity's next home. And that's the real message behind SpaceX's One Rocket plan. It isn't just about building faster or cheaper. It's about changing how humanity expands beyond Earth. This is exactly why Starship matters. It transforms the moon from a distant goal into our first real home in space. If SpaceX succeeds, it won't just reshape the moon, it will redefine the entire future of exploration. The first cargo missions could launch before 2030, marking the start of Moonbase Alpha and a new era of permanent human presence. The question now is, will NASA adapt or will SpaceX lead the way alone? Share your thoughts below. We'd love to hear what you think. If you found this analysis valuable, make sure to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to Space Hub for more real, evidence-based insights into the next phase of human spaceflight. Don't forget to turn on notifications, because the next chapter of the space race is already being written.